Morning. So you know what? My neighbors are full of crap. Literally, they're full of crap.
Just down here getting a drink and playing in the mud a little bit. Now we've got all our friends with us. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
And unfortunately, that crap from the cows, a lot of people think that they can take raw cow manure and just stick it into their gardens and everything will work out great, but that's really not true. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how you can make a clean compost, very active, full of microbes, full of mycorrhizal, good mycorrhizal fungi, packed full of nutrients, and you can do it in about 48 hours. It's really quick, so hold on. Hey guys, so if you've followed our channel for years, we've been on our gardens, we've been using this super compost and we've eliminated all chemical fertilizers. This is all we use to feed our vegetables and the results are absolutely stunning. I mean, almost double the crop yield with no synthetic fertilizers. Plus we get good microbes, we get good fungus, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Today I'm going to do it on a larger scale. I'm going to take you out to the farm. I'm going to run a couple errands first. I got to feed the fish, I got to water the plants, I got a bush hog guy coming to do the upper field, a lot of stuff going on. But I'll show you, take you out there and I'll show you me making this. I'm going to make it right in my UTV. I'm going to make it in the back of my UTV because we're making big piles, take it up to the field and I'll dump it. Now let's talk about this compost a bit. Cow manure, raw cow manure, and a lot of raw manure, you got to be careful when you're dealing with compost piles because if you don't know how to heat them properly, you don't have the good microbes, the good bacteria and good microbes battle the bad. You can have bad pathogens, you can have bad microbes, you can have E. coli, you can have a bunch of stuff move in. So what we're doing today is a very clean source. Now we're going to use black cow compost. Manure, and it's not raw manure. They actually take raw manure, they mix it in with organic matter, and then they heat it up to 130, 140 degrees. Now at that temperature, the good microbes survive and the bad microbes and pathogens get killed off. And so what we do is we take that, we add in the dirt booster, which has everything inside of it you need, and reactivate it, get it to warm up a little bit, and then we put it right into our soil. Now that same thing you can actually top apply to plants. So you can go around each one of your plants and put a little bit of this and it'll actually work into the soil. If you want to work it in, you can work it in. So you can, not only can you use this at the beginning of the season, but during the season you can actually go ahead and you can actually top dress and put some of this all around your plants. And that's what we're going to do with these piles. I can't go out on 10 acres and make huge piles of compost and work them into 10 acres of crops. So what we're doing, we've already added Dirt Booster Plus to the actual soil and the plantings, and things are going great, by the way. It looks phenomenal. But I also know I'm going to need more nutrients in this soil. The soil that's out there was crappy. The CEC was low. The organic matter was low. So we're going to use these super compost piles, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a small handful and we're going to put it around each one of the plants that are out there to give it some organic matter, to give it nutrients, and give microbes and good mycorrhizal fungi. That's where I'm going with this. When we sent us off to Clemson, we sent these piles off to Clemson University years ago, and we kept, every year we'd take a sample and test it. I may even do it on this one too. But the CECs were off the charts. They range from like 17 to 24, and that's your cation exchange capacity. I talked about that in the last video. The organic matter was through the roof, but the nutrient level was actually showed excessive. You can look at this, showed excessive for all the main nutrients. So your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, everything showed excessive, and that's good. That's what we want. We want really high nutrients in there. Now remember, the good microbes also help the plant break down those nutrients so the plant can use it. So there's this symbiotic relationship going on when you add this to flowers, to your vegetables, anything. Matter of fact, I have a couple bare spots on my lawn and I'll actually take some of this and I'll sprinkle it on those bare spots, and boom, those bare spots, that Bermuda just wants to crawl right in there. So yes, someone asked me that, and you can do that. It's kind of hard to make a big enough pile to put all over your whole lawn, but it's very powerful. So don't put too much in if you're going to do it, small amounts at a time. So I'll take you out to the farm. That's what we'll do today. I'll make those piles. I'm just going to shoot as the day goes by. So this isn't an entertaining video. This is a work video. So here we go. So anyways, this is just some fish feed, and my babies are pretty well trained. Let's see. Holy cow, look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. Dude, isn't that the coolest thing? Look at them. That is just so cool. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things in the morning. No one's here, it's peaceful, it's quiet. Man, these fish are going crazy. Now, I do this to feed the bluegill, but actually, we actually have quite a few bass that actually come here and eat too. But look at this place. This place is just gonna explode here. So the next thing I have to do is I gotta get some water on these fields. Now I had this vision when we were getting ready to close on this property, that what I could do, since this is a spring-fed pond, and water is always coming in and water is always going out, even during a drought. So I said to myself, we need to get water from here up to the fields. So after a lot of planning and testing, I went ahead and got a 2-inch high pressure pump. We ran about 450 feet spider web of 2-inch lay flat hose up to the fields. And I'm gonna start it up. That's what I'm gonna do now. So this is my this is the 1200, I think. That's the 1200 big sprinkler, and I think that one's called 1000. And I'm running both of those off this one pump. And I actually got a hose and extended this one, so now this one is covering this whole portion of the field. The only thing that's not getting water, there's a corner up here that's not getting water, but that's okay. So let me give you my formula for today. I went to Lowe's and pulled around the back. I went up to the register, I said, need 20 bags of black cow. And you get them for about $5 a bag. So, oops, not that one. So there's 20 bags of black cow. The next thing I'm gonna do, this is the new Dirt Booster Plus. All the microbes and good fungus, everything is all in one. So what I'm gonna do today, to keep me from walking my butt off so far, I'm actually gonna mix it right in the back of my UTV. I'm gonna put a layer of black cow, layer of the Dirt Booster. I'm gonna spray it with water, let that stuff get all wet, and then keep going. Then I'll take this up to the field, and we'll actually dump a couple piles around and let them sit overnight, or for 24 to 48 hours. Hopefully they'll activate. One of the keys, some people say that, hey Doc, I had problems getting my Dirt Booster pile to activate. And what you got to understand is it's got to have a warm starting temperature. So the best thing you can do if you're at home is to put these bags actually feel kind of cool right now, but you want to put these bags in the sunshine, or even better yet, open them up, spread them out, and do this in the middle of the day and let the sun pound on it and get that temperature up to, like, at least if you can get it up to 80 degrees, then make your piles, and then they'll fire right up. But I'm telling you, your piles will stall because fungus likes oxygen, water, and heat. That's what it likes. So if you don't have one of those, it's not going to work. too. I just washed out the back of the UTV. I forgot to do that yesterday. And I think my bush hog guy is here. I hear him up there. Check my phone. But let's go up and let's take a look at these piles. And I don't know if they've activated or not because I didn't let them heat up enough. We'll see. So, man, those cover crops look great. Let me grab my thermometer here. David's here with his big John Deere, and he's bush hogging that. Upper section up there, which I had one guy do, and he did a crappy job of it. So basically, I'm having to redo it. So I just use. Here's a Weber grill meat thermometer. That's all I use for these piles whenever I test them, because I lose these things all the time. I leave them around. So let's see if we got any action going on. Oh yeah, I feel some warmth in there. Well, that's good. It's usually, it's not, I don't expect it to heat up to 120, but oh, look at that. So there we go. I'm at 107, 108, 110. That's good. So we're active. So now that we've got these, the fields after today will be all done. The property is cleaned up. It's ready for the house, is ready for remodel. I'm starting to get my plans in for that. I'm gonna take a break. I've been doing this for 6 weeks, 7 days a week. I'm gonna probably take a couple weeks, go down. I already sent the wife down to the beach. She's down there with the girls, the dogs. So I kind of missed my girls. So what I did do is I have a rain gauge. I installed this rain gauge up here. Now this is one of these real precise rain gauges. This whole tube from here to here is 1 inch. So that's 1/10 of an inch, 20th, 30th, half an inch. And what I want them to do, you know, they live 20 minutes away from here. Well, they may get rain and this place not get any. So the first thing in the morning they need to do is they need to check that rain gauge. And if there's any water in it, look at it, empty it, and make a decision on watering. And then they're gonna start the irrigation, because this drought's not gonna let anything grow. Oh, I can see smoke coming out of it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I can actually see steam coming out of that right now. Oh yeah. So let's go inside. Let's take a look. 114, 115, 116, so 17. So I'm probably getting up to about 120 in there. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the video for a second and I'm gonna jump in here. I made a mistake on these piles, and I realized it once I started working with these piles. I was concerned that I was going to dump these piles up in the field in the sunlight and they're going to dry out too quickly, so I put too much water. That's one of the things that you can do with these piles and sort of slow down the digestive process, that activity. So when I finally started digging in, they were almost a little bit muddy, and that's not what you want. So if that happens, all you have to do is just sort of spread out that pile, let the sun hit it, let it dry out a little bit, you know, for maybe 30 minutes or so, and then repile it up, and it'll activate even more. So I've had a couple of people ask me and say, hey Doc, I did my pile and it smelled kind of bad and it didn't activate. If that happens, I guarantee you that you probably put too much water on it and it got a little bit muddy. And if that's the case, in the middle of the day, come out, spread that pile out in the sun, let the sun pound on it, let it dry out a little bit, and then repile it again. And I guarantee you the next day you come out and it'll completely activate. So that's what I did with this. At the end of the day, I had Ryan go back and actually turn all these piles and get more oxygen and let them dry out a little bit, just so they had more activity inside of them. Just a tip for you. So we're bush hogging. So let me explain this. We'll call this the middle field right here. I'm having David take that down as low as he possibly can, because what we're doing is we're going to broadcast some green top turnip and millet. That's what we were going to plant in here, and it was just too tall before. Now that back area he's just doing a normal bush hog on, but this area right in here This is a no-till planting. So we just wanted to get it as low as possible. And that's just perfect. That'll give the seeds at least a chance to come up. Okay, so the good witch is here, Ryan's here, and we're finishing up this planting. And my guy's bush hogging. So she has got, let me see your potatoes. Let me show them. These are just yellow Yukons, and then she's cutting them in half, but these have really nice eyes on them. Look at the eyes on that. Look at that. So every 24 inches, Ryan's digging a little hole. She's coming in, she puts it the eye side up, just covers it with light soil. And the other ones we planted last week are actually coming up. You can see the actual green sprouts. I ordered some more sweet potato slips. This is a little bit different variety. So these are sweet potato slips, and we will put those in a row over here. But then we've got some tomato seeds planted. We've got some tomato plants, and I was talking to one of the local farmers, and he said the only thing he's had real good luck with are the hybrid disease-resistant tomatoes out further down. He's a couple miles away. So I stopped by Lowe's, and guess what? They had some. These are they're called Parks Whopper Improved. It's a hybrid, famous for its good disease resistance, and they're indeterminate. Now, indeterminate means basically it'll just keep growing and producing, growing and producing. Determinate means that you have a one-time harvest focus. So you may have a 2 or 3 week period where it's all ready there. That's good for canning and stuff like that. This is better for eating. They'll just keep producing.
Ooh, that's hot. It hasn't started to turn white yet, but that's okay.
Okay, so let me show you what we're doing. Now we're over here. They've planted the Yukons. Now Ryan's digging holes for the sweet potatoes. And I told her, we're taking a scoop of this compost. We're putting it in, but we're not going to plant directly in that. I want her to actually get some of the other soil and sort of mix it in together, because that stuff can be a little bit powerful sometimes. Same thing, I'm getting ready to plant some tomatoes. So I dug a nice hole, and I'm putting a scoop of that super compost in here, and then what I'll do is I'll get some of the other soil and I'll mix it in, and then I'll plant my tomatoes there. On these tomatoes over here that are already planted, let me show you what I'm doing and how you can use this on already planted plants. Okay, so you see this here? That's my tomato plant. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this compost here, and I'm just going to lightly go around it. I'm not going to bury it, just all around it, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just putting some of this around it. If you wanted to work it in, you could work it in, but and that's it. That's all I'm doing. Morning, day 3. Man, it's peaceful up here. So it's early morning. It's actually nice and a little bit chilly out here, but I figured I'd come out here and just look at these piles. Now remember, the other day when I did these, I made the mistake that a lot of people make. Number one, I put too much water, and number two, I didn't let them get warm. But so this morning I came out and I just cut this pile open. Can you see the steam in here? So I don't have I have to go get my temperature gauge, but that means that this has got to be 120 degrees with that much steam. Now, what I'm also seeing is this right here. See those white particles? The white particles are actually the corn that are being digested, let's say, by the microbes and the fungus. So you can see how it's white. And that's what ends up happening. Now yesterday this pile smelled kind of like poo. It didn't stunk. Well, today, because I have this heat and I have the white action, whew, now it just kind of smells like dirt. Maybe a little bit of almost an ammonia type smell to this one, just because it's probably so high in nitrogen right now. But man, that's just coming along great. So what I'm going to do now, these are not wet and muddy anymore. They're just moist, and it's perfect. And you can see all that steam coming off. That is just perfect. That's not warm. Let me look at. Oh yeah, see, we're coming down here. Look at that. That's what I want to see right there. So what I'm going to do is, again, this is about 48 hours, and that's the perfect time for this. This stuff really starts to get active. It gets warm, and yes, you can put that right in at that point. Once you start to see that action happening. Let's go over here, and let's look at this pile, and let's see what happened to this pile. Do I have? Yes. Okay, so I've got some white here, and I've got steam. See that? Isn't that great? That's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn these piles one more time. Again, they really need some oxygen. Bad bacteria and bad microbes survive without oxygen in an oxygen depleted environment. And they die when there's oxygen and heat introduced. The good microbes survive and thrive in the heat and oxygen. Got that? So that's important. That's why we make these really clean piles. It smells like dirt. It doesn't smell like poo. They're really clean. They're really safe. I will tell you that one time I had a bad compost pile, and I actually got a bad staph infection up in my eyes and up in my nose from that bacteria somehow. And so I'm real cautious about this. I'm real cautious about what I'm doing. It's not necessarily that I'm worried about it's going to go into my food, but it's in my soil, and I don't want it there. So let's see if we can do this without getting attacked here. Hello, coming in there, birdies. I don't know if she's in here or not, but the babies, I didn't think these eggs were going to hatch. She just flew out. Let's see if she came back in. I think she's not in here. So we found these 2 eggs over here, and I want to show you the babies. These are actually vulture chicks. Aren't they the cutest things? Look at them. They are so cute. How do they turn so ugly? Oh well. So we were getting ready to work on this barn, and I saw those eggs. They actually look like Easter eggs. They're really cool. Maybe I'll put a picture, but I pulled my guys off this project. And I was like, dude, I don't want to kill some baby's eggs. I want to kill some mama's eggs. So we'll let the babies grow up and they can release. And then what we'll do is we'll enclose that. We're going to put up some chicken wire and stuff to keep animals out. All right, so I ran down the truck, I grabbed my other camera, and I grabbed my Weber. Let me talk real quickly about the cost. People are gonna ask about ratios and costs. So the Black Cow compost runs about $5 a bag. You get that at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. I am putting, Dirt Booster is like 40 something dollars. If you go to the Anderson site and you use the code DOC, D-O-C, put that in, and that'll search their website for any promotions that they have. And when you check out, it'll probably give you about a 10% discount. So it's like 40 something bucks per bag. Now I'm using about, I think the average homeowner would probably use 1 bag of Dirt Booster for 4, maybe 5 bags of Black Cow. So I used, I only made up about barely 15 bags of the Black Cow, and I barely used 2 bags of Dirt Booster. So anyways, So let's just hit this real quick, even though I've got it opened up. Let's see where we are. So there's 116, 17, 18, 19, 120. So I'm hitting 120 there. There's 131, 132, 133, 134. So this is what happens. The bad microbes can't survive this kind of heat. That's kind of how you cleanse your pile. The nice thing about this is that we're not putting bad things into this. So we're not putting manure into this. This starts off clean, and then we're sort of re-cleaning it. That's why it's such a clean good. Now this is going to be full of nutrients. I'm going to steal a sample of this. I'll send it off to Clemson again, but I guarantee you that this will be off the chart as far as nutrients, organic matter, and CECs. And you mix that into your soil, man, it's just crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to re-stir some of these piles. So this is just a trick that I have for the big fields. What I'm doing is, instead of using a tarp, I'm actually taking the clay soil and I'm going to encase these piles in clay soil, because I know that sun's going to come up pretty soon and be pounding on these piles and dry them out. So it's just a little trick I've learned. When you're making a big pile and you're not going to use it for a few days, cover it up a bit. Once it gets active, once it's at the point that you like it, cover it up and keep that sun from drying it out, because this stuff really is nice and medium, where it was super wet yesterday. Hey guys, so I'm back home. It's been a long couple days. We've got those piles, everything's all set. I'm actually getting ready to pack up, and I'm gonna head down the beach for a couple weeks. I'm gonna work on that zoysia lawn, so hit subscribe. You don't want to miss working on that lawn down there, because it really does look good. Few issues, and I'll show you those issues I got coming up. But when you use this compost, I'm just telling you, it really is amazing how you can just eliminate all chemical fertilizers by using this. It's clean, it's natural, it's organic. It's just a great way to go when you have vegetables. Anyways, hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Doc, I gotta go cut the grass.